So, but then, these observations are not the same as other conditions. Like when someone talks about illness, sickness. So, illness and sickness are words that are used interchangeably, and that is directly medical. And I'm not going to talk about it here. That is discussed in healthcare system. So, we have also other things which is related to environment, and that is the term health. So, health is defined as the complete states of mental and social well-being of an individual, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. Infirmity are an examples of mental illnesses or other physical illnesses. So what we mean here is that when we talk about health, we are not only referring to a condition where there's a presence of the conditions that are as harms vital functions, but we are talking about any states, whether you're physically and unwell, whether you're mentally unwell, whether you are socially and even sometimes economically and spiritually unwell, you are regarded as somebody who is not healthy. So that means you cannot only consider the absence of disease, as a complete state of health. No, sometimes people or individuals can actually be without having any disease conditions or pathological conditions, but still the persons would not be healthy. So there are other factors that determines your health, and that's why we regard it as a complete state of health that requires physical, mental, and social well-being of an individual, not only the absence of disease or infirmity. And we have also environmental epidemiology. Epidemiology, first of all, is the study of the disease exposures, how disease spread, what factors contribute, the determinants, the contributing factors, and all that. So, environmental epidemiology is association between exposures to the environment agents and subsequent development of disease. So, if you are exposed within the environment, if you are exposed to certain vectors or certain factors, you can actually contract disease. For example, when you look at microorganisms and disease, so you're going to realize that air pollutions at the end of the day causes conditions like headache. Like water pollution can actually causes various diseases. Soil pollution can also causes conditions to a human body like gastroenteritis, like also liver diseases. So the environment have contributing factors to the health of people that lives in the environment, and we also have environmental uh, tox, toxicology. These are the causal mechanisms between exposures and subsequent development of diseases. In other words, it is concerned with the study of the harmful effects of various chemicals, biological and physical agents on the living organism. So, in the environment, we have some of the harmful effects, some of the harmful substances, some of the harmful organisms that may cause diseases to human body, and these are things that also need to be understood. Now, in the same way, we also have ecosystem, which is the complex of interconnected living organisms inhabiting a particular area or unit of space together with the environment and all their interrelationships and relationship with the environment. So, how does the environment interact with what we have in our, in the environment, interactions of the environment and the living things? So, you are using fire, for example. How Welcome to the lecture for today, and I'm gonna take a quick summary on environmental health. Lecture one. We make a summary, and like I told you before, um, the programs requires you to thoroughly read your notes. This is a long distance programs, so you read your notes thoroughly, consistently, and whenever there's a questions, you always drop it to the program coordinator, and the questions are forwarded to the respective lecturers, and then you get the reply. Okay, so this is environmental health. This is environmental health. So we first let me help you to understand briefly what environment is all about, and by definitions we refers environment as the surroundings or conditions in which a person's animals or plants lives or operate. This includes where you stay, this includes what you have around you, and in the context of public health we are looking at the same thing. They consist of what we have around us, whether it is the living things, whether it is the non-living things. So in the environment or in our surroundings, we have the physical uh, aspects in which the environments are divided. So we also have the biological, social, and cultural factors, of which all of this determines how we live in environment, and also influences the status of the people in the environment. So this is trying to explain to you that in the context of public health, the environment contribute to our benefits, our health. So sometimes you may actually become sick, not because of anything, but because of the contributing factors towards your sickness as comes from the environment, and this is very important. So you cannot talk about any other factor in life and then you forget about the environment, because whatever you think of doing, whatever you want, you're going to find it in the environment. Okay, so in the same environment we have some of the concepts that need to be understood. For example, like disease. Diseases is basically, or in other words, disease are just conditions or kind of situations or impairments that affect the ability. So the disease is seen as conditions of living animals or plants or body or anyone's parts that impairs the performance of a vital function. So in other words, disease is a way that, or medically, what is called pathological conditions. Okay, something that affect the functions of your body, and scientifically it has to be something that eventually have the definitions, can be diagnosed, can be tested and confirmed. It has to be given a name, for example, malaria or malaria, so for malaria to be referred as a disease, it has to meet requirements like can be diagnosed, can be tested and confirmed in laboratory, and it has to have the cause. Its cause has to be defined. So, for instance, for malaria, it's caused by Plasmodium anomalous mosquito. We have the like of tuberculosis, which is caused by Microbacterium tuberculosis. So it has to have the cause, but that has All right. So the next things that we have that also concepts of environment is what we call biodiversity. Biodiversity. It is the term used to describe a numerous variety of life on Earth, and at the same time can actually also refer to all the species in one region or ecosystem. So this refers to every living things, including plants, bacteria, animals, and humans. All the things that you could ever think about that live in the environment are called biodiversity. Now, we also have hazards. Hazards are the situations with the potential for harm in terms of human injury or ill health, or let's say damage to property, anything that can cause damage to environment. That is hazards. So whatever that can you can ever think about that can affect things that live in environment. This could be fire. This could be floods. These are all hazards that affect the factors in the environment. Environment also ascertain what we call risk. Risk is a chance or probability that a person will be harmed or experience an adverse health effect if exposed to any hazard you could ever think about. So when there is fire outbreak, what do you think may happen? That is the risk. When there is floods, what do you think may happen? And this also may apply to situations with property or equipment loss or harmful effects on the environment. We also have what we call risk assessments. These are the concepts that need to be understood as well. Risk assessment is a process or a system or process of evaluating the potential risk that may be involved in a projected activity or undertaking. So, in case anything, you're going to do something, or well, let's say we have a project that we want to run, for example, like safe water programs. So, in this case, we carry out a risk assessment. We try to study if this thing happens, how will it affect people? How will it benefit people? Do we have some factors that will definitely affect the life of the biodiversity, or that? Then we have health impact assessment. It's a combination of procedures and methods and tools used in order to evaluate the potential effects of policy or project on the health of populations. Now, when you talk about evaluation, we are referring to assessment process or a process of assessing the outcomes of a health impact. For example, let's say we have given out immunization or vaccines to the community. We have to evaluate and see whether everyone got the service, and if the program met the set goals and objectives. Now, all this means that all these tools are required so that a public health policy and a good health policy are put in places so that we can be able to reduce issues of health inequalities. Health inequalities is a situation where some people have access to health services, others don't have. This might be because others are poor, others are rich, others are close to services, others services are very far from them. So there's need to have the impact assessment so that the gap in inequalities can be bridged. Now we have health protections. Health protections is an act of avoiding or reducing any potential harm from exposures through organized efforts, including direct actions with individuals or communities, regulation, legislations, or other measures. So, whatever you can do to make sure that you reduce harms, reduce people getting infections or any other health problems. This could either be done in many ways. It could require you as a person to be part of protections. For example, when we say you need to put on mask during an outbreak, the policy comes in under air protections. This to ensure that we reduce the risk of harms, the risk of exposures of disease to other people, and it could also include environment and services. food water service, water safety, communicable disease control, tobacco control, injury preventions, and other activities that aim to minimize preventable health risk. So this is very important. As we proceed, we have some few assessment here. You can just have a look at it. But definitely other questions will follow. All right, so we're moving forward to look at human beings and the environment. You know, human beings and environment. And like I said, we're not going to have everything in order. So what you do is to be able to really take to read through and summarize your points. Okay. So, for example, when we talk about types of environment, understand the physical environment. What are the examples of physical environment? Okay, and for example, here we say that this is where individual lives, learn, work, and play. Those are physical environment. People interact with their physical environment through air they breathe, water they drink, houses they live in. Wherever you are sitting while attending this, you're actually seated in a physical environment. Yeah. So that means if we have a poor physical environment, definitely our health will be deteriorated, and in order for us to live a very long life, we need to have our physical environment well protected. And the air that we breathe in, whatever we interact with, has to be what is very safe to us. That includes clean air, safe water. Those are necessary factors that are needed for health. So in any case, there is air pollution in environment. That means that can increase other potential harms like causing asthma rates, lung diseases, and can also increases other premature death from less conditions that are associated with the heart or lung disease. Now, water contaminations with chemicals, water that are contaminated with chemicals, pesticides, or any other contaminants can also lead to illness, because you interact with the water in the environment, you also interact with food in the environment. Now, when this is contaminated, it may cause disease, it may cause infections, it may increase risk of other conditions like cancer. And that means there's need for you and any other person to understand the benefit of the environment, and what they have. So when you are there, you're not alone, you're interacting with whatever you have within your physical environment. Now, what are the components of physical environment? We have air, we have water, we have soil, we have housing, we have climate, the geography, heat, light, noise, debris, radiation, etc. Okay, so we always need all the things to be very stable, comfortable, available, and very safe. You know. All right. Next, we have biological environment. Now, biological environment consists of the man's viruses, microbial, now what we refer as microbial agents, insects, rodents, animals, and plants. These are things that we can biologically find within the environment. And the factors associated with involved in these are natural. All right, these are natural factors, like maybe let's say wild animal, plants, or bacteria that affect human life as in a particular place or period. All these things are available and they are there. When you look at the diagram, you're going to see some of the things that we have within our biological environment. Whatever we have there, how do they affect our health? I mean, we have the viruses, we have microbial agents, we have insects, we have rodent, we have animals, and then we have plants. So, how do you interact with those? Well, definitely these are things that could cause harms to us. Now, we have social environment, and this refers to immediate physical and social setting in which people lives or in which something happens or develops. It includes the culture that individual was educated or lives, and people and institutions with whom they interact, social environment. And this is immediate physical and social settings. Where we live, a lot of things happens, a lot of things develops. We have like our behaviors, the cultures, the way we live our life, the educations, and other factors. And this is very important. These factors which are social in environment are very important, because when we say, I mean, factors in social environment that are important to health includes those related to safety, violence, and social disorder in general, and more specific factors related to the type, quality, and stability of social connections, whatever that you may have that concerned with their social health. Social health is your ability to really associate and understand who and what you have around you. In other words, so we have the elements of environment. You know, we go through that. We have the components. We have quite three. Sorry about that. Let's go back. So the types of environments, we have the components of environment. What do we have in the environment? What does the environment consist with? All right, so we have the like of atmosphere, hydro atmosphere, litho atmosphere, and biosphere. Uh, we have hydrosphere, lithosphere, sorry, and biosphere. Okay, but also this can also be divided into two main categories, that is to say micro and macro environment. Now micro environment refers to the immediate local surroundings of organisms, meanwhile the macro refers to all the physical and biotic conditions that surround the environments, I mean surround the organisms externally. And this can also be divided into two, which can be referred as a biotic physical environment or biotic environment. So just get to summarize this. Uh, what do we refer as a biotic environment, and then biotic environment, okay, and then benefits of studying environmental health. These are things that you can summarize and eventually be able to read and what and understand. Remember, reminding you once again, this is more of self-study, so you need to do a lot of reading, please, and whatever you need explanation with, always drop direct to the program coordinator, and it will be submitted to the right persons, and you'll get explanations, or maybe in a special programs that has been can be scheduled for you a live session to have you sorted. Otherwise, that is what it can be available for you for now. Wish you the best.